everybody. Welcome to Dad Casual, where full-time dads and casual gamers come together to talk about the games we wish we had more time to play. Thanks for being here, as always. Man, it is an exciting week. It's episode 34, which is crazy. And whoa, trailers. This was like a trailer week. So we're definitely going to talk about some trailers from Zelda, Jedi Survivor, Final Fantasy 16, and more. There's some really big games coming up soon, and we're finally seeing kind of the last assets coming out before we get to play them. We're going to give our thoughts on those trailers. We're also going to talk about some news, like a big Donkey Kong arcade cabinet. There's a Minecraft movie coming out with a star that I wouldn't expect to be in a Minecraft movie. There's a Sony patent on a new controller with some interesting tech and more. And we got our usual crew, all of us together. We've got Houston Drugs.
Ganondorf lives.
We got Preston Jensen.
I am here as well.
Houston Dragon, I'm sorry. What's up, guys? How are you?
Another day.
Doing all right, man. Yeah, doing good. This my daughter hasn't been feeling super great this week, so been lacking on the sleep department, but doing all right.
You're lying. You're having a tough time. You're just putting on a brave face.
Just gotta do it for the listeners.
How about you, Preston?
It's been good. We have been rocking and rolling, and I got a big test tomorrow. Well, I think it's a big test for some work certifications, and ready to get those.
I need to do the same thing. I seriously, I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know why I didn't just study with you. We could have done this together at the same time.
We do everything else together. Podcast, vacation, work.
It's not too late though. You can share with me all your study docs, and I can get certified too. But anyway, the people want to hear about some video games. What have you guys games? Have you played anything this last week? I've got some game time in, but I want to hear from you guys first.
Yeah. I have played a little bit of mobile and a little bit of console this week. So mobile, we recently talked about Vampire Survivors getting Game of the Year at the BAFTAs, the BAFTA Game Awards specifically, and I dug into it a little bit and played probably all combined 5 hours or so.
On which system?
iOS.
Nice.
I did not put together that it was an iOS game.
Mm-hmm.
There's an iOS version. I don't know if it's as fully fledged as like desktop or whatever, but it seems simple enough to where it could be, because it's really just a it's really not a bullet hell. They say you are the bullet hell because you're the one firing projectiles in every direction, and then everything else is just kind of like coming at you, and you're just defeating enemies. Some of them shoot stuff, but it's more or less just like trying to avoid the mobs. Kill as many as you can, and then you get upgrades, and the more upgrades you get, like the more bullets and knives and magic balls of energy that you get to throw out to destroy everything.
That's fun.
So it seems like it would be more or less the same thing, because it's just directional controls. Like you don't actually actively fire; it just is on like a cooldown system.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I've played some similar games to it. I don't know how much it stands out from that, other than like it has that really cool like 8-bit 2D nostalgic kind of Castlevania motif to it.
We talked about it last week. So now that you've played it, you put a couple hours into it. Why do you think the BAFTAs gave it the nod for best game of the year last year?
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That confuses me still. I wouldn't put it on the same level of the same echelon, if you will, of your God of War type games, where it's like it took a team of like over 1,000 people like 3 years to make. This looks like it's cool, and it looks like they cared a lot about it. There's a really cool soundtrack, like an 8-bit soundtrack, and the art is like the pixel sprites are very intentionally drawn, and kind of they made it its own thing. Like there's some kind of humor to it as well, like really subtle humor, and so it seems like there was a lot of love and care put into it, more so than just like a cash grabby. And that's the coolest thing. It's a mobile game that has like one DLC pack, but it's like true content. It's not just like a get gems and upgrade your character or else you can't beat this level today kind of thing.
Oh God,
It is
it doesn't have the gotcha mechanics.
correct.
and
It
all
is a
that.
real game, which I do like, but
That's really to me the only problem with mobile games. Like I'm not anti mobile game if it's a good game. Just so
Yeah.
many of them are garbage.
yeah, I would imagine like I don't know how big this team is that made this, but my impression is that it could have been like one or two people over the course of like a year and a half to make this, not this multi-thousand,
Developing
multi-year.
team.
Yeah. But it is
Yeah.
cool. I personally probably wouldn't give it game of the year, but I'd say it's a solid 8 for me for like kind of just like get its hooks in you kind of factor.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
So that was your mobile game. What was your console game?
So I dove back in. I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, I think, but I dove back into Ghost of Tsushima, specifically the Iki Island DLC, and I beat the story of the Iki Island DLC. I still have a lot of like clearing out all the camps and stuff that you can do, and finding all the secrets. But I played through the main story of it, which is cool. It was like another 6 hours.
Nice.
Or
Was that
so.
a paid DLC or was it?
It was, but I didn't buy the game until the director's cut version was out, and it just came with it.
Oh, cool.
So I didn't play it on PS4. I waited till I got my PS5 to play because it was like kind of in that transitional period for me. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. They added a lot of new mechanics to it, so they kind of like breathed fresh air into the game, which I didn't think was going to be like super possible to make it even more interesting. But there's some more combat mechanics. There's some more like horse riding mechanics. There's some inventory management stuff. Iki Island itself has some cool new like things you can do to interact with the environment. There's just some new settings and stuff too. It's pretty cool.
That's
It
awesome.
kept my interest, and I'm eager to play the rest of it and kind of like flesh out the rest of the map.
Cool. That's one of those games that I know, like, I like story driven, especially PlayStation exclusive, like games like that. And I even like the like Assassin's Creed. And I feel like this is like a marriage of the two, like a little bit as far as like open
Yeah,
world, samurai, assassin.
And the best version of all those things. It has the best elements of all of your favorite open world games, I think.
Yeah, that's one that I need to. I'm sure I'm going to jump into, and I will forget every game that comes out the moment I do that. So
Nice.
I need to do it. Cool, Preston. How about you? What you been playing?
So something new, Sackboy's Big Adventure. I picked because I think it was free.
Me too.
Nice.
It's a fun little game. Very puzzly. Very almost open world type of. Like, you do have to go somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's like hub world kind of things, like almost like Mario style.
Yeah, like Mario 64 type open world, if you will. So not truly open world, but I would say I can tell it was made for PlayStation. Like, it's awesome. I think just the controller or the controls and the controller actually like interactive with it is really cool. And it's just a very detailed game on the PS5. And was it only made for PS5?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was one of the exclusives. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, like a
it's-
launch title, if you will.
Yeah. And then, so usually I play video games here at my desk, but I got a HDMI splitter to go to my 4K TV, and I forgot how beautiful just 4K TV, giant 65-inch TV is. And I did it kept it here at my desk because of the mic setup with Discord, and now there is Discord in PlayStation, so it's awesome. I also have played the newest season of Fortnite, which I actually really like, and probably because I've placed like top 5 the last few times I've played. So
Ooh, nice.
yeah,
Cool.
little humble.
What a flex.
I kind of jumped in at first. Did they just drop another update?
I think so, since the last time you played.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Because I did jump in when what's the big new thing they announced with this season? I forget, but I did jump in. I've also been playing Sackboy 2 though. I'm really pumped about it. I definitely wouldn't call it open world because like they're definitely like levels. Like you just go from level to level to level.
yeah,
Very linear. Like you beat the level, you get a score, and like what's frustrated me about it has been the like this is something I realized about myself, and it almost makes me think of Angry Birds or other games where you like when you finish a level, you get like bronze, silver, or
Yeah,
gold,
yeah.
or you get 1, 2, or 3 stars. Is that like sometimes those games frustrate me because my completionist really comes out, and I'm like, if you give me 2 out of 3 stars or silver instead of gold, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I have to play the level again, and I hate that about myself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that game is a great example of it's as hard as you want it to be. Because if you want to get all the objectives on a level,
Mm-hmm.
there was this one level, and I was like, oh, it's literally perfection.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, and there's a, I don't know if you got to the part where you can do these, I think they call them the knitted night trials. It looks like this like Rubik's Cube thing, and you like go into like,
No, I
they're just
haven't
like
done that.
they're just like challenge levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're tough, man. I was a little surprised because I kind of when I first started, I was like, oh, this is gonna be
A kid's game.
kids game, and it totally. My kids have played it much more than I have.
Yeah.
I'm kind of deep into the second world, if you will. Like I beat the first world is like a snowy mountain. The second world is like a jungle.
Right.
And I've for the most part got all the stars. I played a lot more last night. We were going to record this last night, and I actually jumped in last night to play, and I swept through and I like got all the things my kids weren't getting because you get like costumes and upgrades. It's
Yeah.
just fun, man, and it's meant to be played up to 4 people. So I actually would love to play with you guys. I think it'd be fun, and there are some levels that you need 2 people
Interesting.
that are like
Okay.
you can't play without multiplayer, and that means all the rewards associated with that level you can't get.
That's interesting.
So I would like to do that. Now I did some of that with my kids, but
Right.
yeah,
There's
know.
there's no like AI NPC option.
No.
You you have to play with another human.
yeah, you have to play with a person. Yeah, it's very it takes 2 like in that sense.
Gotcha.
Um,
Hmm.
There was this really funny moment where we were fighting a boss in the game, and I was playing it with my kids. Well, you have lives. Well, my kids kept dying, and it literally became a like I have to beat the boss without ever dying because my kids are gonna die 10 times, and like they're gonna run all the lives to 0, and I can't die now. And then if I did, they'd be like, "Dad," and I'd be like, "I died once. You died like so many times."
Just tell them to get good.
I literally was thinking, like, if you just stopped playing, I could use all the lives. And eventually I beat it on 1 life and it was fine, but it did make me laugh.
Nice.
There you go.
And then the other game I've been playing, Hearthstone, it's just not much. Just today is Thursday, April 15th for us. And on Tuesday, the Hearthstone expansion Festival of Legends came out, which is like super fun. It's just music themed. What I like is that all the classes you play in Hearthstone, you can pick like if you pick the warrior deck, some cards are only available to use specifically for warrior. You can play priest or you can play whatever. There's a bunch of different a mage class, and every one represents a different genre of music in this expansion. So like the warrior is rock and roll, the mage I believe is pop music, and then like the warlock is soul, of course.
Makes
Of course.
sense.
And it's fun as you go through the demon hunter is metal, like everything like fits like their vibe. And then there's even one that's I believe classical too. It's super cool.
That's awesome.
And so I've enjoying this one. It's just a fun theme. It's kind of silly, but I really like it. But I did want to talk about this, and this isn't video games, but earlier this week, I went and saw the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Hey, there you go.
It's a
Now-
me.
I don't know how much I want to talk about this. I think it'd be kind of fun once we've all seen it. Maybe we like give it a review.
Yeah. We're going to
Yeah,
go
I'll be
see
down.
it
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I haven't seen it yet, so I need to make plans to go do so.
You should definitely see it tomorrow, Preston. That'd be awesome. Take your
Let's
boy.
take Rhett.
Yeah, I Cliff Notes without going into too many details on it. I liked it.
Nice.
It was very good. It in my opinion, they just played it safe. Like they played it safe in a way where like I don't know who's gonna walk out of that movie and like not like it.
Right.
Like it was just a really fun time, But it did make me think several times while watching the movie. Wow, the story of Mario isn't very complicated.
Nope.
Like
What are those?
Bowser,
Yeah, takes the princess.
it's complicated in like a ridiculous, like you've got this plumber from New York City who's fighting a giant fire breathing lizard who's in love with a princess who is in Toadstool Kingdom, and like it's just
Yeah,
I don't know. Mushroom Kingdom, not
Mushroom
Toadstool.
Kingdom. Yeah.
I think it's been called Toadstool Kingdom in like translations though.
Hmm.
Like Princess Peach has been called Princess Toadstool before.
Yes, yeah,
Yep.
that was like Mario 1, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently that was a mistranslation. I think she was always supposed to be Peach. But anyway, I really enjoyed the movie, man. The music, the visuals,
Was there a
at the
lot
end
of
the day-
nostalgia?
Yeah, so there's like in the movie, like if you've played Mario, you know all the stuff he's supposed to be doing. And so like there are scenes where like you're sitting there and you're like, well, okay, he's got to do it this way. And sure enough, he does it that way.
Nice.
Nice. That's really cool. So one little small anecdote, because I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen some like memes and posts and all kinds of things. There was really one funny one that I noticed about the red carpet event. So it's like it was in America, and you had Jack Black and you had Chris Pratt and all these actors and stuff, and everybody's focused on them. And then Shigeru Miyamoto,
Okay.
the creator, is like on the red carpet, and he's just in the background. And there's one picture of him where he's just kind of just like looking really bored and sad, just like pressed up against the wall, like of the
Nobody
the
cares
little
about
backdrop, and nobody cares about me, but they don't know that I actually made the game.
it. Yes.
I definitely think that was just the shot because I actually saw something that was the opposite. It was someone interviewing him, but then Jack Black was talking to a different reporter and like was hamming it up, and people are like, Jack Black is like making fun, and it was like, no, he was hamming it up for the camera. He's not making fun.
Did you see his suit?
Yeah, it had like
he was wearing a lizard scale shirt
Yeah.
with a blazer over it that had fire on the cuffs and Bowser spikes on the back of it. It was incredible.
Yes.
I mean, you gotta just appreciate who Jack Black is as a person, man.
He's
just
incredible.
So great.
Yes.
Big,
Amazing.
big
So-
fan.
Anyway, I know we've kind of spent a long time just talking about what we've been playing, but I think sometimes that's the best thing to talk
Yeah.
about. But I do want to get into some news and some things. And the first thing is the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom dropped its final story trailer, which
And is it pretty?
dude,
So cool.
and so much hype. Like this one
Mhm.
felt like what the game needed to get me excited. And I am excited now.
100% right there with you, because they announced, or I mean, not announced, but they showcased so much new stuff that we just haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And even this little taste of the game makes me think, oh, there's still like hours of just new
Mhm.
concepts that they could also be showing, but they are choosing to give us I guess the best of the best right now. So there's so much there, and you got to go watch this trailer. And I mean, it's really not spoilers because it's public knowledge, but
Yeah.
there's things like Ganondorf has been announced
Oh yeah.
for this game. They brought him back as a character, which is really cool. I don't know what the last game that he was in, but he is like the iconic, like, so
Yeah.
the main with him. So he comes in different forms in a lot of the games. And so like Ganon is like he's a pig, and then Ganondorf is like his human form. And then his human form hasn't been in one of the games for a little while now.
Yeah. Yeah, the last one was in the first Breath of the Wild was Calamity Ganon, and it was like just this like spiritual mist form. Like I wouldn't even
they're
call it.
Yeah, like the Horcruxes, if you will, of Ganon.
Whoa. Those lasers
Yeah.
looked crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
looks
There's
super
like-
like Mission
there's like-
Impossible. Dude, that shot when he's like spinning on the horse. Oh man, I'm like,
Yeah, there's lasers and rockets and mechs and all kinds of stuff in this game that they showed. There's
That
an
looked
underground section
that-
that we're pretty sure exists
so
now.
that looked a little bit like, let me go back here. Like Mario's castle.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
Hyrule Castle. Yeah,
I just think it's Hyrule. Yeah,
yeah, it's a similar style. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
that,
definitely
that
like
would
a
be wild.
vibe.
The crossover.
It's
There's
after this scene here when things I feel like really pick up and get hype, and they start showing like the champions that you get to like. I'm like, oh, are they going to be like in the game as companions?
yeah, that would be. That's what it seems like, and it looks really really cool. So, the companion system. Seems like there's a true dungeon system now with like a big underground
Yeah.
area. They showed more of the unique fusing mechanics and the ultra hand mechanics. All kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah, right there.
We're seeing a new Giga Slate thing where it's kind of like the freeze, but like you can kind of like
Oh, dude,
walk
that
around
part,
in time.
the moon jump, like something's weird with gravity.
Yeah, the low gravity thing. Here's the mech fight scene. All kinds of stuff, man. So there's just so much that like they just haven't shown yet. So this is
Yeah.
really, really exciting.
It looks beautiful.
I'm still saying that from as much dialogue as we heard in this game, I think Link's still going to talk. That's my big like takeaway prediction from all of this, of the past 2 trailers, that Link is going to say a sentence.
He won't just shout. Ah!
No, it's not just going to be efforting, is what the voice acting terminology is, where you just make a noise.
Just
Gotcha.
one noise the whole time.
Man, it looks great. It really doesn't show a lot new, but I think it finally gave a vibe to the just, I don't know, what the game is going to feel like and be like. And I don't know if I've got enough money right now to get with all the other games too to get this at day one. So I might wait a little.
Your birthday's coming up.
I know, but my birthday's in June after this game, and that's the same week that Diablo comes out. And I kind of just
Isn't that right around Father's Day?
Father's Day is mid-June.
Oh, I thought that was mid-May.
And
Is
the-
that Mother's Day?
And
Mother's Day is
yeah,
mid-May.
and the
Don't
first
forget.
day of summer.
Don't forget.
Like all these holidays that you have to buy video games for.
First day of summer is right around when Final Fantasy 16 drops.
There you go.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, May the 4th be with you. Can be that's the holiday to buy Star Wars. That perfect.
I mean, that was a great segue.
Boom. Let's go ahead. No, actually, before we go to, I do want to talk about Jedi Survivor, but I thought this was interesting about Zelda. This comes from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Nintendo demands that Discord, the company, reveal a Zelda leaker. There was a massive The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom art book that was leaked in February, and Nintendo has not forgotten. The Switch maker is currently trying to subpoena Discord, where images from the art book first started making the rounds to force the social media platform to disclose the identity of one of the users alleged to be behind the leak. Oh man,
That's a bit of a pickle, legally speaking.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't see him doing it.
it's an interesting one. I think if they can actually legally get the subpoena, but I don't think Discord's going to do it voluntarily. Certainly not.
Yeah, because Discord is an American-based company, and so our privacy laws probably prohibit it, even if
They wanted
Japanese
to.
laws don't.
Yeah.
It
So-
depends on the law being broken, but yes, I think it very much reminds me of some Apple cases before
Mhm,
with
100%.
Apple and security
Unlocking
things.
iPhones and
Yeah, exactly. Like it reminds me of that, and it's like,
Yeah, and this isn't like life or death situation. It'd probably be different if it was that. But if this is just leaked information and pictures, then
yeah.
Yeah.
that seems fairly minor.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it sucks for
don't
Nintendo, but
I don't see like the FBI getting involved like they did with the
No.
Apple case and all of that. So
again, because it's not like a violent crime.
right, exactly. They'd laugh and be like, "This is Zelda, bro." Like,
yeah. It does show like just the state of leaks and like, guys, if you're listening, leaks. I don't. Do you guys like? What do you think about leaks? Like, are you like, oh, pro leak? Like, yeah, put it on Reddit. I want to see it all. Or are
But
you
what-
like,
What
it
isn't
ruins-
leaked these days? That's my argument. It's,
Yeah,
it's
I would-
like
I would say I like the hype of a leak. And I know Apple has been accused of purposefully leaking things before, going back to Apple, like putting it out there to like, they know it's going to leak or, but
I think it depends on what the leak is for me.
yeah, like the GTA 6 leak sucks still to me because it was
so early.
It was so early, but it got people so frustrated that nothing's come out from it since still. And so it's like, well, but like this, to me, it's like a couple weeks and you're like, okay, is that a huge deal?
It's also just an art book for the game. Like, it's just a few.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not
I
like
think-
the code for the game leaked or something.
Right.
I think for me, a leak, it depends. Like, if it's a sequential thing, so what I mean by that is like if the thing that leaked is the next thing sequentially that I haven't seen that they were going to show next anyway, I guess I don't really care. What I don't like is when it like a jump to the end leak.
Yeah.
When the dude who jumped to the end of the Harry Potter book ran around Barnes and Noble screaming
that's
Dumbledore
different.
died.
Yeah.
Like,
Whoa, bro. Whoa.
I think it's been a decade, Preston.
New TV
almost a couple
series is
decades.
coming out on
That's
that.
true.
Just FYI.
That's true. But like, if you jump to the end of something
Yes.
or you like leak, to me, I'm like, that's where like I'm actually upset. It's not. It's a spoiler. Like,
That's a different thing, I think, than a leak.
But to some people, we've talked about what's a spoiler, what's not a spoiler before. Of like anything's a spoiler to some people. For me, it's definitely like, did I receive information out of the order that I should have? Like, which I guess you could argue even an art book does. Like,
I mean, would you have been upset if you saw this most recent trailer first from a leak? Because that would have been out of order.
Not
because it was the third trailer, right?
No, it's an intended trailer. Like, it's the next thing. But if in this trailer, or if someone dropped like, here's the final boss fight with Ganondorf, I'd be like, no, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I would avoid watching
that's
it.
a spoiler, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
compared to
Like-
just a leak. That's a
And
leak with a spoiler.
That's a bad leak because it's like, oh man, that sucks. Because like it ruins. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. Does watching this ruin the moment for me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it just replaces it. Sometimes, like this if the trailer leaked, I'd just be like, I got to see it early. Cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
But
But-
it is out of the intended order that they wanted you to experience.
Or the timeline,
Something.
intended
Right.
timeline. Yeah.
Yeah, but like art, especially like concept art or like working art, is so inconsequential to like
Yes.
the
Mhm.
meat
really-
of the game.
It depends. The art book I didn't look at the art book, could have shown some very big spoilers. So I don't know.
This is true. But I think this is fairly minor, and
Yeah.
I think Nintendo needs to take a chill pill.
But they did.
Chill out.
I don't know if this is on the list of things, but they did, however, get a GameStop employee fired and told them that they would take
Yeah.
away Nintendo whatever with GameStop if they did not fire this person.
That's a really normal thing across any business who they release new hardware or content, is that like it's really hard for them to like keep the retail side of things, like because Nintendo is shipping out hundreds of these OLED Switch models that are Legend of Zelda branded. Not hundreds, thousands. I mean,
Sure.
how are you going to keep the minimum wage kid who works at GameStop? It's tough. Like
Yeah.
the most you can do is come down really hard on that kid and get it fired. So hopefully
The next person
that's
won't.
the next person won't.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that doesn't actually give you control of stopping it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are
Agreed.
going to be kids, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to move on to the Jedi Survivor trailer. Awesome trailer as well. I think that comes out the end of this month. What did you guys see this trailer?
Yes. Right before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're showing footage now. This one also, I don't know. I felt like I think a story trailer helps me get excited for a game.
Oh yeah. I think this one I could not tell the difference of gameplay and
So there is no
Cinematic.
like, I mean, not in what we saw here, but I think it said all of this was in-game engine. And so shout out to the technical art team of this game. Oh my goodness. Like the first
Incredible.
one looks incredible.
Yeah.
And this one just looks like it's just a refined version of the first one. So, I mean, this is like, I would watch
Yeah.
a movie in this engine
Yeah.
easily.
We'll see if there is a difference between pre-rendered or like rendered in engine footage on a maxed out PC versus what my PS5 is going to show. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's still in engine in both cases, but one machine is way more powerful than
Is
the other.
this new gen consoles only?
It's new
and
gen and
PC?
PC.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It might be PS. I don't know. I don't want to say for certain that it's not on PS4, Xbox One, but I don't think it is.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
in
that
the,
age.
in the state of gaming. Just
Yeah.
see what we can do. And I know
Dude,
it sucks for some people, but It's so cool.
I love the collaborative fighting in this. Looks like you also have people you're playing with. I love all the different options for playing. I think it really just looks like the first game, bigger, better, more beautiful, more options, more mechanics. And I think that's what it needed. The first one was really good.
Yeah.
Just a tad simplistic.
Did I tell y'all how I got the first one for like $9?
No, that's a cool story though.
Do y'all remember Redbox rented video games?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
They decided not to anymore. And I was driving in Texas and they were like, games on sale. And I was like, I wonder what games are out. And I bought like 4 or 5 different games for $10.
Nice.
And that
That's
was one of
amazing.
them.
Nice.
So,
Have you played it?
yeah.
Cool. I was like, if you were like, no, I'd be like, oh. I mean,
No, I think it's a fun game.
It is fun. I liked it a lot, and if you haven't finished it, you guys definitely should try to push through because it has a great ending. But I'm really pumped for that one. Today was the Final Fantasy 16 State of Play. I'm gonna hand this Houston, man. What did you think?
This
I know
is
you were
your
excited
game.
for Final Fantasy.
Yeah, so I'm still super hyped for this one. It really did go more in depth on like core gameplay footage, which was really cool. They showed some story stuff, but it was like, okay, like here's some of the menu options, like here's like your home base in the area. Like they told us that you're gonna play through Clive is the main character's name. You play through a story, a flashback of him in his 20s, and then you go to him in his 30s, and I think it also transforms into his 40s. So like you kind of play through like a large chunk of his life and kind of see his whole story, which I think is really cool. They focused a lot on the fact that this is a action game. It is not a turn-based game. There are some like kind of like RPG elements to it, but it is mostly action-based, and they kind of kept harping on that.
That's a lot of fire for that.
That makes me want to play it more. I actually, in watching this, I kind of want to play this. I'm kind of interested in this.
Yeah. So, like I said before, it's one of the battle directors for the Devil May Cry series helped make this, and so it's going to take a lot of that energy, but then blend it with the Final Fantasy RPG elements. And then the big thing for this game is they're really focusing on what they call the icons, which are, if you're familiar with like the Aeons or the summons from previous Final Fantasy games, they are really doubling down on those because that's one of the best elements for a lot of fans in a lot of the Final Fantasy games is when you get to use the summons, because they kind of make it a special thing that doesn't happen all the time. But this game, it's like the core principle where like Clive's abilities are taken from the summons or the icons, and then they also let you become the summons, kind of like a real life like Avatar Gundam suit type thing where you get to do these gigantic titanic battles between these icons.
This looks awesome. This looks not like what I think of when I think of Final Fantasy. This actually looks like fantasy, like knights and dragons.
Yeah, they went back to the medieval high fantasy concept, which they've done in the past. They've played that out on a lot of the 2D games, or like the isometric, like older school
got the
games.
chocobos.
And then they kind of went into like an episode or Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, so on and so forth. They went more like sci-fi with it, but they're going back to the fantasy thing. So I think that's really cool.
Do you get that wolf follow you everywhere?
Yeah, you have like a little companion wolf dude that kind of fights with you, which is kind of a cool concept. Always like having a companion mechanic in a game that seems to be pretty popular these days with like your Atreuses and things of that nature. If you skip forward in the video, it shows more of the icon battles towards the end, and that's kind of a cool thing. And one thing I said to Preston earlier today is the director of the game mentioned that some of the elements of some of the icon battles, while they're largely like these big cinematic, kind of like quick time event based things, they said some of it's kind of like fighting game or wrestling game style.
Nice.
Which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, if you go to like the last 5 minutes of the video, I think it shows some of that.
Check it out.
This fighting we were just watching now. Yeah, the floatiness of the combat. Like there's something about a lot of JRPGs that they have this like floating people, like they're not hitting the ground, but then their numbers are flying everywhere.
And then the satisfying thing is like, especially in the more action oriented ones, is like you're floating and then you hit a button and you essentially like teleport and then smash full force into another person. And that's when like the big numbers come up and it's just like a really good weight to the system that way. But here's some of the more like
Whoa.
Straight up like CGI cinematic quick time icon battles.
Is it very quick timing? That's how it feels.
Some of it is. So they kind of blend it between like fighting game style, action RPG, and quick time. But it's very, very like heavy on the cinematics, which I think is really cool. It's very, very Final Fantasy. They're very Square Enix of them.
If the story's good, it could be cool.
Yeah, and this story actually, like Final Fantasy is pretty infamous for having very, for lack of a better term, Japanese confusing stories sometimes, especially to their Western audiences.
Yeah.
But the flashiness of them and kind of like just the music and the art style, like kind of makes up for it a lot of instances. But this one actually seems pretty easy to follow. Like it's like a warring kingdoms thing, and like each of these kingdoms control these crystals, and they're protected by these icons, and then they go to war because they're fighting over power over like essentially like an oil battle, like except the oil is like energy or these crystals or whatever.
Yeah.
And so very much like a old school medieval tale.
Cool.
It is
very excited for it.
I actually am leaning towards playing this one. I know I don't remember what the release date is.
June 22nd, I believe. Right when summer starts, really soon. It's only a month or so after Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom.
There's just too many
Tears of
games,
the Kingdom.
Man. There's just too many.
Tears of the Kingdom, yes.
So I got a couple fun. That's kind of the beef of the conversation I wanted to get through, but I've got a couple, and with the remaining time we have, I want to see how many we can get through. Just some of these are ridiculous. One of them is Jason Momoa, our resident Aquaman, has a Minecraft movie coming out.
Our resident Aquaman, right? Ours. He belongs to Dead Casual.
Okay, cool. Yes, to the people, the Republic of Gamers.
Okay. Gotcha.
April 2025 and
2025.
I'm sorry, April 2025.
There you go.
In theaters.
You did it.
This is Pamela McClintock at the Hollywood Reporter, which is mostly obviously Hollywood and movie based reporting. Warner Brothers has made several high-profile changes and additions to its release calendar, including announcing that Jason Momoa star Minecraft will hit theaters April 4th, 2025. The studio is making the tentpole in partnership with Legendary Pictures, and Napoleon Dynamite filmmaker Jared Hess is directing the big screen adaptation of the popular video game. Are you guys into whatever that is?
Man,
I'm morbidly curious. I don't know if I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
that's a weird.
It sounds interesting. Like, is it going to be fully animated, or is it going to be like a pseudo live action thing with Jason Momoa? Because like most of his appeal, I would say, is his physical appearance, right?
Is Tina going to be in it?
What's that?
Is Tina going to be in it though?
Is he just the voice? Do you think he's just animated and he's a voice?
That could be.
If it's Minecraft, it would have to be, right? Unless they do like a.
They're not doing like a
new guy thing with Ryan Reynolds, where it's like pseudo like merged video game with real life.
That'd be
weird.
Like no, it looks.
Hey, like the Smurfs are going into the real world. Like Minecraft's invading New York City.
This says the malevolent
like that.
Ender Dragon sets out on a path of destruction, prompting a young girl and her group of unlikely adventurers to set out to save the overworld.
So the Ender Dragon's the final boss in Minecraft. So,
but the
it sounds
Jason Momoa.
I bet it's animated. It's very strange, but
yeah,
I bet it's animated.
Okay.
We'll see. This one's kind of cool. A new Sony patent shows a controller that can change temperature. This comes from CCGN at Kotaku. Sony has shown us some fascinating alternative controllers for the PlayStation 5, and one possible version is still at the patent stage. A recent published patent document suggests Sony might be currently experimenting with haptic technology that would allow part of your controller to change shape or temperature depending on the gameplay.
Ooh.
Change shape? Would that be like a T-Mobile slide sidekick thing?
I guess.
This is my Disney nerd kind of coming out for a second, but what it makes me think of is if you've ever been to Disney in the past like 3 or 4 years and been to Pandora, like the Avatar portion of the world, forget the name of the one, but the one you ride on the flying creatures, that ride. The base
the flight of
passage or something like that. Yeah. So the you sit in like kind of like a stirrup like motorcycle type
Mm-hmm.
apparatus, and your legs are against like the seat essentially, and the seat
And it
like,
breathes.
moves, and it feels like the machine is breathing.
Mhm.
So maybe it's something like that to where it's like if it wants to add more pressure to your hands to feel something kind of like growing in energy, I guess like it could do that.
That
But
would be crazy.
it would be. But like I don't know what else. What else is going to change shape? Like, can you like
Uh,
extend the controller?
That's what I was thinking. Like one of those old T-Mobile sidekicks.
So-
like pull it apart and use it as a racing wheel.
yeah.
So I'm reading this. This is kind of hard to understand reading this, but the article says that while controllers that exist today are hard plastic that isn't malleable, the elastic member could actually change shape. And though that hard plastic body hasn't changed over the decades, controllers have gotten more advanced. So it's almost like saying that somehow you'll be able to make it fit your hand better.
Like it'll be like a silicone mold type thing, like
That'd be
like a
weird,
pseudo
too.
permeable type thing. Interesting.
It would measure details such as whether the elastic piece elastic is touched, twisted, or pressed with a finger, pinched, squashed, rubbed. It could measure things like acceleration. It
May-
can change its temperature, shape, and
Maybe
hardness.
Maybe it's not.
Oh no!
Yeah.
It's
This
a
sounds
soft.
so weird.
No, but that could basically be what you're talking about, Houston. Like the buttons could like change hardness.
Yeah, they could do some like really
Bro.
crazy like pressure sensitive things.
The
Yeah.
elastic member could be filled with pockets of gas
Is it-
that
is it-
expand.
Is
You
it
keep saying
called?
member. Is it membrane?
No, the elastic member is what this says.
Well,
All right.
that sounds like a different kind
Welcome-
of podcast.
Welcome to Dad Casual.
Oh,
It also has the vibration capabilities of any modern controller. Mhm.
Sure it does.
well, this
It
is
could convey the intensity of a volcano level or simulate the feeling of climbing a rope.
So I'm hearing all this, and I'm just wanting to bring back the controllers with the fans in them to cool your hands so you don't get sweaty. Anybody remember those, like the old
Yeah.
PS2 controllers?
See, that to me is the obvious application here. Like if you have temperature control, do that. But now I'm like, I don't like. This
so
sounds.
if you're like in lava, it gets too hot where you can't touch it, and you throw it across the room or something. Like, what is this? What are we doing here?
Yeah, that just sounds like it sounds sweat inducing. It sounds uncomfortable.
You know,
But-
one time I was playing a game in haptic, like the vibration of the controller made me lose. I like died in the game because my controller vibrated.
It like distracted you or like made you like lose grip or something.
So I was playing a game called Until Dawn, which is like
Mhm.
that horror game with my
Mhm.
wife, and we're playing, and there's a part where I you make choices in that game to survive, and we were trying to keep all the characters alive, and I hid in the closet, and it said stay still, like hold completely still so that the
Mhm.
killer doesn't find you. And so I, with the brilliant idea, put the controller on the counter, thinking like, oh, perfectly still. And then the controller vibrated and it like rattled on the
It
counter.
scooted forward
And
a little bit.
The killer ripped open the closet door and killed me. Like
Oh, that's gotta be terrifying.
That's crazy.
my wife was like, "Why did you do that?" It was a whole
man.
That's
minute.
hilarious.
So I will say that I remember in recent history Sony just making patents on things for the sake of making the patent so nobody else could take the idea.
100.
Even if it wasn't the best idea, even if it never goes into production. Nintendo does the same thing.
It's
Yeah.
called defensive patent creation. You're
Sure,
just
sure.
saying, I don't want someone else to jump on the ball, so we're going to make a patent.
Nobody
for it.
else gets this squishy, hardening, softening controller.
That
or if
temperature
they
changes.
or if they do, and it's like, oh, that is good, but we have the patent for it, so we can make it the right way, like our way.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah. So
I don't
it's
see that
probably
being
not.
a thing for the next console generation or two.
I love the idea of cooling. That's a good idea.
Put
If they
fans
could-
back in controllers.
Yeah,
Or
that's
something.
good. I wanted to talk about a quick game. EA officially revealed the trailer for a game called Immortals of Aveum that comes out July 20th of this year, which is super soon. Yeah, we're showing it on the screen now. It is a first-person shooter without guns. So Chris Reed at IGN, who he got an early playtest on it, said it is pitched as a single-player, story-driven magic shooter. Immortals of Aveum appears to live up to that tagline. The combat shares many ideas with the military shooters we know and love, but you can cast spells that act as long-range rifles, shotguns, grenades, and the like. But since it's magic that fuels your capabilities, you also have the access to additional moves that you wouldn't find in traditional shooters.
Oh, I like that concept.
It looks
That's cool.
very Doctor Strange first-person shooter.
This is like, oh man, I wonder if they have like more gameplay.
Yeah, I see that.
This is obviously the cutscenes, but the gameplay looks actually really fun. Like, I would be into playing this.
Even
Yeah, I didn't actually get a chance to watch this before we started talking, so this is interesting.
Even the battles there that we just saw remind me of the final scene with Thanos and
Yeah, this looks like very much like in-game setting.
yeah.
Yeah, can we go to a part where they have gameplay? I know this is
That's
like
Anakin.
This,
oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like
Just so many colors.
like a Borderlands or a BioShock, but
So-
it's all magic.
This all looks like I don't know if you've ever watched gameplay footage of Ghostwire Tokyo. It's a more recent game.
Correct. Yeah.
But it looks very similar to that because I mean it's a first person. You just see the one hand and it's a magic casting thing. So you got Skyrim, Ghostwire Tokyo, BioShock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little
I
bit
like
of,
the like I like
Honored, maybe.
the shields and there's more things you can do, which is cool.
Yeah.
It also looks like a pretty wide range of powers. Like almost everything I'm seeing on screen is like different.
Is this multiplayer?
I think it's going to have a single player campaign and multiplayer.
Yeah, I would have to, I would think.
It's an if it's being marketed as an FPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Everything
there's
gameplay
like Doom, but
everything in here looks like a single player story.
it does. Yeah.
But I'm sure they have multiplayer. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Doom. It looks like a much less hell-ridden Doom.
I think the name is super generic. Immortals of Aveum. I'm like, okay, like
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes people just can't. I swear, every game has this like crazy name. But whatever. I think it looked fun. I think I will definitely pay attention to that when it comes out and see what the reviews are like.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be a beta. I'd love to get an early beta on that one.
Yeah, we need more demos and betas of games.
Yes.
I think most games should have that.
I miss demos. Like actual demos.
Well, I mean, there's a ton of demos now with PlayStation Plus. They
The
literally
free
tell me
trials,
about
yeah.
them constantly.
There's
A lot of cool ones, which I guess that's a trial. That's like you're just playing the beginning of the actual game.
Yeah, I do like when they have demos that, I mean, like Forspoken was actually one of those and actually saved me some money on that game, but like where they just make a self-contained experience that's not part of the main game. I always think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
What's cool about that is a demo can be like, hey, I'm going to show you the middle of the game where you already have all your abilities, as opposed to like a trial. You might only get to play the first hour, and that's often the worst part of the game. Like you want to play when
But
things
if you're
are cool.
playing a demo in the middle of the game, is it a spoiler?
It depends when they choose to.
Yeah, if it truly is that, but then the beginning of the game still feels fresh, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Just a thought.
Yeah. So another thing we got to talk about this. This comes from Nicole Clark at Polygon. A playable 20-foot Donkey Kong arcade machine is coming to the Museum of Play in New York.
There it is.
The Strong National Museum of Play is creating a 20-foot tall, fully playable Donkey Kong arcade machine, 20 feet, in collaboration with Nintendo, which will be featured in the museum's new 90,000 square foot expansion dedicated to the history of video games. This new expansion will open June 30th.
That's a lot of square feet.
Are we going?
Dude, look at that thing. It kind of looks like something that'd be like at a Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
Man, that's kind of wild. It's huge. Like what? Like, do you just have to kind of like do this like a kid at a counter?
No,
and,
it looks
play
like it looks like from this render. There's in front of the guy. There's
there's like a seat.
there's
or like
there's another controller.
Oh, okay. Is that what that
Zoom
is?
in.
It's like a control console. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, so you're not actually. It'd be more fun just to use the giant controls.
Right.
I think isn't that the part of it?
I would think that would be cool.
I would imagine
to
they work.
use. That'd be even cooler.
So another little side story. I got to play Donkey Kong, like the original arcade, for the first time like 3 months ago, maybe. A friend of ours and ex coworker owns a barcade called B Arcade here in Baton Rouge. So if you're ever in town, go hit up B Arcade. Shout out Cave. And I got to play that. I got to play Donkey Kong Jr., a bunch of other really cool arcade games for the first time, just because like that was the generation before me
Yeah.
because I was born in the 90s, not the 70s and 80s. So really cool experience. But yeah, I would totally love to go do this because I've been to New York and been to the Nintendo store / museum, and that's really cool to go see. But yeah, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah, man, I'm looking up this Museum of Play in New York, and like if I go to New York, I really want to go. Uh, they have an oversized giant Tetris as well, and Pac-Man Battle Royale.
Let's go.
And they have all like tons of classic console machines, and it says that they have 4 dozen legendary arcade cabinets that you can just play. Like are preserving these giant, and this is just in the game section. And if you look, it's almost like a children's museum, but filled like a lot more.
This
They have
is
a giant
really
Sesame Street thing. This looks awesome. I mean, of course, New York is going to have one of the best like
Yeah.
play museums
Sure,
around.
sure.
A giant toy museum.
This is really cool. We should go.
Yes.
BRB, booking a flight.
The pinball playfield.
Let's do it.
Pinball is so much fun.
80 years of pinball.
I get frustrated with pinball, but
Anyway,
I mean,
that
if I
looks
had the-
pretty cool.
If I had the space for it, I would love to have a pinball cabinet in my basement in a
Louisiana.
state where that you can have basements.
Nice.
Very
So, man, that's such a cool thing to do. But one more thing about speaking of museums, the Library of Congress, the Super Mario Brothers theme is the first game music selected for preservation
Yeah.
at the Library of Congress.
Let's go. Because
So
he's the best.
this comes from, I'll read it.
Claps in
Chris Morris
chat.
at Fortune. Few musicians have had their work become so internationally recognized for decades, yet remain so relatively unknown as Koji Kondo, the man who composed the music for the Super Mario Brothers video game in the 1980s. The Library of Congress wrote in its announcement of the induction. So
Yeah, that's
it's a longer
awesome to
write
hear.
up than that, but yeah, they really honored
That is
Koji
so
Kondo,
cool.
which is cool.
Shout out Kondo-san. Love that.
Yeah, that's cool. Which made me think like that's the first video game music.
I would say I would be shocked that Tetris isn't also in there. That's another
true.
really iconic one.
Did the music from Tetris originate with the game, or is
believe
it
so.
a song before the game came out?
Oh, I don't know if it's like a traditional Russian song or whatever, but
What I'm saying is like if it was a game song before that, it's possible that it is already in.
yeah, that's true. If it's like a traditional Russian like folk song or something like that, yeah.
I mean,
dude,
I have no idea.
The Legend of Zelda's got to be the next one up, right? Like the main theme, also Koji Kondo. Like
GTA.
I
That's
mean,
the next soundtrack.
there's what's other amazing video game music that you're like, oh man, it's got to be in there.
Oh, that's
The
tough
Halo theme.
yeah, the Halo theme. for
The Halo
sure.
theme is like one of the
Oh,
Skyrim theme is another one I think of.
Mhm.
Oh man, some of that's just like I don't know, just so good. I mean, honestly, this year's God of War, the Bear McCreary soundtrack was crazy. So
The Doom 2016 soundtrack. I mean, and I know it's metal stuff. But I mean, that soundtrack is
yeah.
iconic.
mhm.
Yeah. I remember when they did that at the Game Awards, I think it was one year, and it was like, whoa, this
Where
is actually
they had Mick Gordon actually on stage, the composer on stage, just rocking like an 8-string guitar, just going at it. It's so
pretty
cool.
Pretty cool. But that's pretty cool. I think it just shows that video games are mainstream now. Nerd culture is mainstream now. Like,
oh yeah. We made
nerds
it
rule the world. We did it, guys. We did.
We're
it.
here.
Yeah.
until Chat
Well-
GPT takes over.
Well, that's true.
So that's pretty much it. I kind of wanted to pivot to dad talk a little bit. If you guys had anything to talk about in your dad lives, you know, what's been going on. I know Houston, you've been your daughter's not been sleeping through the night or whatever, and you've been like, I think you have a unique experience of like we all go through those stages of like sleepless nights when our
Hmm.
kids are really young. But like you, because of your daughter's condition, have possibly like a different situation, and that it's just I don't know how are you holding up, man.
I'm doing all right. It definitely comes in waves. This week being one of the lower points, and then like when she doesn't sleep, we don't sleep, and then like things don't
Yep.
get done around the house, mostly by me just because I'm exhausted, and then me and my wife get frustrated with one another, but like it's not like personal. It's just like I don't know.
Sleep
It just adds some
deprivation.
undue, yeah, sleep deprivation adds undue stress to every part of your life. Like I can't focus as much like on my work stuff and so yeah, it's a struggle for sure. I do think one day like we'll be able to kind of like figure out how to regulate it a little bit better. And it's just every day we learn a little bit more
Mm,
Yeah.
and see how to nip it in the bud as quickly as possible. But today is not that day.
yeah.
But yeah, we're doing good. It's just it's learning how to take care of her the right way, which is, I mean, every kid is unique and especially those with special needs, like it's even more of a just kind of like a puzzle that you have to figure out that I don't think you ever fully solve.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's hard, and I'm glad that you have communities of people around you with similar, you know, similar situations. At least
Struggles.
even if it's just online. Um,
Yeah, and that's been another thing too. Like we recently like have engaged more with there is a like a spina bifida association of Louisiana that we've been kind of like getting in touch with. We did like a little awareness walk thing recently, and so yeah, there's some select families that we are kind of tied in with now that we can go to for I don't know, like finding resources and picking their brain about things because a lot of them have kids much older than Josephine. So
Right.
yeah,
That's good.
Kristen stays
cool.
really on top of that kind of stuff, and I've been slowly introduced to it over the years. So yeah, see how it goes from now.
Cool.
Cool, man.
We
How
have
about you, Preston?
we have been dealing with a Rhett giving thumbs up to me and thumbs down to mom. He's just not feeling
Mm.
her lately, and he's gotten a little disrespectful and had the people's
What?
elbow dropped on him.
Why is that? Do you think?
I don't know. I think, and I talked about it in counseling today actually. Earlier, I went to counseling bi-weekly. I go, and we were talking about it, and kids for whatever reason, like, and I think I'm this way actually, so maybe I'm a kid, but black and white is like the ultimate thing for them. Like it's either yes, no, 1-0,
Yep.
love, hate. Like there's no in
Oh
between.
man, I
And
feel that.
so if he loves me, he hates his mom.
Oh man.
If he loves his mom, he's hating on me. And he's like, get away from me. I don't want you. I want daddy. Or the vice versa. And so, like, we've gone on the last 3 days. We've done, there's a couple parks around here that have some nature walks and just talking about, like, hey, it's the three of us against the world. Family is forever. This is all you got. We're going to respect. We're going to honor. We're going to, like,
It's cool.
we have to do all that. And today, after Christine went with us today on the walk, which was really cool, and he was like, "All right, mom, get behind me. I'll protect you." There's obviously nothing out there, but it was cool to see him kind of like realizing like we can all do this together.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's we're dealing with that. It's when he's tired too. He gets real like, stay away from me, mom. I want dad. But what's really funny is so I usually we're pretty scheduled people, routine people, I should say. And so I bathe him and she puts him down. And when she's alone with him, like an angel to her. Like they have the sweetest time, but if we're both
Hmm.
around, I'm thumbs up, she's thumbs down. It's just really weird time right now. So,
That's similar to me and Josephine too. Like, I mean, she doesn't. I don't think she likes one of us more than the other. Like in the same way, at
mhm.
least in like in seasons like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if I'm the one taking care of her and like putting her to bed and like I do like her whole routine at the end of the day, like Kristen's been watching her all day and then she kind of just like either goes work out or like disappears into the room and takes a bath and whatever.
Right.
And then Josephine is fine unless Kristen comes in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she sees her mom again, that's when she starts freaking out and be like, the world is ending. I need you to hold me.
Right.
But if it's just me, she'll just
Be
kind of
alright.
give me no, like she'll fuss a little bit, but
Right.
it's much less nonsense, if you will.
It's
Yeah.
this total same thing with now Lily, who's, she's turning 2 this July. She's finally starting to show that like rebelliousness, like that creeps up into kids. And like, I'm just trying to be incredibly intentional about like every time I see it, trying to, nip things in the bud as I see them come. But some things are not that easily trimmed out. Like there's
Yep.
some things, and one of those things is I don't know why, but it's when she sees mom, she will be totally fine. But then mom comes home and she gets so whiny. And we've really talked it through, my wife and I, several times. I'm like, do you feel like you give in and that's why she whines with you? And she's like, I don't, and we don't think that's it. So it's really trying to figure out why does she act this way with you, but not with me? It's interesting.
I think they just are looking for something new. At least that's how it is for Josephine. It's like she'll do the same point with Kristen. Like when I come home at the end of the day, she whines until I pick her up. But then it's the opposite when I've been watching her for a few hours and then Kristen walks in.
Yeah. It's very, kids are weird, man. And
yeah.
I also wonder, like, Andy, you don't probably experience it as much, but like, I wonder how Lily would react if like the roles were reversed. Like you were gone during the day and like, or if it's just the same thing, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very interesting.
I mean, she literally, there was like, Houston took family photos of us the other day, and which came out great, by the way. Hire Houston for your photo and photography work. Like I was trying to get her to just come and give me a hug, and I was pretending to be sad that she wouldn't hug me. And so she like runs to me, and we think she's finally going to give me a hug, and she just slaps me in the mouth, like slaps me in the face, and is like, and runs back to mom. And I was
kicks you while you're down.
Dang.
I was like, what the heck, kid?
Toddler make you want to curse.
But my wife and I actually talked recently about like, okay, I think we've laughed when she does that stuff.
So she thinks it's fun.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I said, we need to, when that moment happens, immediately not laugh.
Elbow.
Don't get mad either. Like we don't want to freak out.
Chair.
So don't bring in the chair.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're going to go through an hour-long slideshow on respect. No, I'm just kidding.
Dang. Just beat me. I hated those. Like, just beat me.
Nope. We're going to slow burn, baby. No, it's just being really serious in that moment.
Yeah.
But Preston, I was going to say, when you talked about black and white, I had a moment like that today with Riley, my 5-year-old, about to be 6-year-old. He had this moment where he almost cursed. He almost said the F word, but he didn't. He stopped himself.
Oh.
And
all that Fortnite.
And he goes, Dad, I almost did it, but it would have been an accident if I did it. And I said, well, if you would have said it, accident or not, you still would have gotten in trouble. But I'm glad you stopped. And then he, for some reason,
lost his mind.
Lost it. And he started looking at me going, no, it would have been an accident. I don't get in trouble if it's an accident. And like, really? Could not process that. Like,
interesting. Yeah.
You only get in trouble when you do things on purpose.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to be like, it's not that black and white, buddy. Like, if you do things by accident, that could mean that the reason you're getting in trouble is because you weren't being careful. But then he was like, I was being careful. It's like, obviously you stopped yourself. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, like I wonder like what analogy you could use to like run that home for him. It's like, okay, if daddy hits another car with his
That's
car,
exactly what I was thinking.
if it's an accident, daddy still has to pay the fines and daddy might get
Yeah.
arrested.
I have used
That's a
those.
thing.
So when he gets emotional, I'm like that. I'm like, no, it's not that the analogy is not good enough. He just, for some reason,
Yeah.
doesn't like it, can't process it. Something's going on. And usually, and sure enough, in that situation, I was like, I think you're tired. Like, now I didn't bring that up because if I start, this is the same thing.
No, I'm not.
Same thing with your spouse, fellas.
Yeah.
Don't be like, I think you're tired.
Or
Is it
hungry.
that time of the month?
Yeah, that always works when I say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, man, parenting's hard. It's so worth it.
I
But
mean,
I think
is it? Because we're
the
not
hardest-
done. You can't say it's worth it because you're not done with it yet.
I mean, I've had a lot of good so far. There would
Yeah.
have to be a lot of bad to make it holistically not
Yeah.
worth it. But yeah,
Parenting is
I
a
wish-
blast.
the hardest part is the not knowing what to do sometimes, I
Mhm.
think. Like, I hate that powerless feeling in anything in life that there's nothing I can do to fix this problem right now.
And I don't, and they can't communicate it most of the time, what they even want.
Yeah.
Not,
But Lily's started too. It's been awesome having her, like,
yeah.
I don't know, just say cup. Yes, you want a drink? Okay. I know you're thirsty because you can say a word.
Thank goodness. You're going to be like 80 by the time you get all those kids out.
I will be 49, almost 50.
If they move out at 18, right?
Yeah, that's true. No,
Just
with
messing.
Lily, I will be 50. I will be 50 years old when she turns 18 in July.
Dang.
Old man.
That's a year, some
Oh,
years
man.
away.
Yeah,
Hope
we
I
got,
can-
we got a little bit of time.
I hope I can retire at 50.
I hope you can retire at 50.
That'd be amazing. Tell me your secrets.
Sell the kids? I don't know. I'm kidding.
It's fair.
It would work.
No, there's no market. Nobody wants them. Anyway, that was a dark joke.
Where's
This is
the
a good
outro
episode,
button?
guys. Where's the press the button?
They're all good episodes, Andy. All of them. All 34 of them.
They're good. They're good. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for tuning in to Dad Casual. If you have any questions, please write in your questions so that we can read them live on the podcast. And really just anything. It can be not just a question about us, but like, hey, what do you guys think about this game? Or I saw a trailer, or hey, you said this, you're wrong. Let us know where we miss things too. I think that could be fun. As well as like us on social media, Instagram, Twitter. We have our Facebook page now that we need more people to like and share and give us trailers and different things like that. Let us know how we can be doing better and serve you. And as far as everything else goes, this is Dad Casual.
Peace.
Later.
Bye.